Go on, take your faith.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. We don't trust the news anymore. You've ruined it.
Wash your eyes.
You've ruined news.
That's right.
And you're part of it.
Hey there, ladies. I'm Connie Bryan, shooting for my TV show. How you guys doing?
Great.
What's your name?
Michelle.
Michelle, and you are?
Deborah.
Deborah, I love this sign. Not a pandemic, never was. Stop getting tested, stop wearing your mask. And this one says, wake up America, your freedoms are being taken away. Can you give me just a few words why you're here today for Stop the Steal?
Because we want the rightful thing to be done. We want the vote to be counted, to be recounted.
Fairly, right?
Even in California, all over the country, especially in those states where it was a tight run.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And how about you, young lady? Why are you here today?
I'm here to get my freedoms back, my constitutional rights. And I don't think we're going to get that with Biden. I think we're going to get socialism and then communism.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, ladies. Hey there, what's your name, young lady?
My name's Elaine Kellett. I'm from Granite Bay.
Granite Bay?
Granite Bay, you bet.
And why are you here today?
I'm here because we're supporting fair elections, and we didn't get one yet.
We didn't get one, that's right.
We didn't get one, and we're not going to stop until we get a fair election.
Wasn't it crazy the way they stopped counting on election
Oh,
night?
yeah.
When they saw that Trump was in the lead, they couldn't believe it. He blew the polls away.
He won on election day. He won.
He won on election night.
That's
He was
right.
ahead in those battleground states, and they just stopped. When have you ever in your lifetime in election seen them stop the counting on election night?
No.
On the battleground states,
Right.
when he was ahead. And then suddenly the next day, all of a sudden, all these ballots are all coming in for Biden.
Right.
That they thought they were going to show up to do an inspection. Some of them had inspected absentee ballots before, where you're shown the ballot. The Republican is shown the ballot. The Democrat is shown the ballot. Neither objects, you put it in. If either objects, you put it aside for discussion later. Nothing like that happened here at all. This is a gross miscarriage of the process that would assure that these ballots are not fraudulent. It's a fraud, an absolute fraud. I mean, you can't just submit these ballots and not have them checked. They're highly suspect ballots, mail-in ballots. It's also highly suspect because it's almost mathematically impossible, several people have already testified, to close the lead that Biden closed. When things closed on Tuesday night, President Trump was ahead by almost 800,000 votes. And it took a couple of days to be able to produce enough ballots to bring it down. Now, could some of those ballots have been manufactured in advance by the Democrat machine of Philadelphia? It wouldn't be the first time they did it. And then exactly why didn't they want the ballots inspected if the ballots are legitimate? It seemed to me, knowing the suspicion that would exist on a political machine like this, with the reputation that it has, you would go to the extra extent to be transparent. Instead, they went to an extra extent to be secretive, as did the Democrat Party in pretty much the cities they control as a machine like this one. Because although we don't have as many complaints yet, we've got about 12 in Atlanta, we've got about 15 in Detroit, we've got about 20 more in the rest of Michigan. I would say in at least 10 states now, we have complaints almost exactly like this. This will be a statewide case because there are 300,000 ballots equally in question in Pittsburgh, with witnesses similar to these witnesses. In some cases, they actually saw a little bit more that would suggest that the ballots were being tampered with. But I have to wait until they're all fully debriefed.
They're working hard to do this. They've worked hard. They've been doing it for a long time. This didn't happen yesterday. This is months and months ago.
Planning, and it was all
planned,
this pandemic, this fake pandemic was what allowed for it.
And people need to take the masks off.
Right.
Okay, they don't stop a virus.
That whole lie about the pandemic, one of the main reasons it's so clear now was that allowed them to use this excuse for the mail-in ballots so that they could buy time and say, oh, that's the reason why we have to keep counting, and then they can ballot harvest.
If we can go to Costco, if we can go to the store, we can go to the polls. everybody's that afraid, it's like, well, suit yourself up and protect yourself. You know?
Exactly. If you're in the at-risk group, you stay home and protect yourself, but the rest of us have got to get the herd immunity, even if that thing is real.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of it.
No, the CDC told us. The CDC said the vast majority of us will be just fine.
You know, it's funny how Fossey comes out and all these people come out, no, don't wear a mask, you know, you don't need a mask. And then they change their mind.
Yeah.
All of a sudden the science changed.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Over something that
the politics changed. That's what changed.
Over something that the vast majority of us, the CDC said, will be just fine.
Right.
If we get it, we won't even know we had it. Why are we shutting down the country over that?
Why are the schools closed? You know why? Because California doesn't have the money.
Exactly.
It's nothing to do about anybody's health. It's the money.
And it's an authoritarian control direction they're trying to take the country.
Yep.
Communism, Marxism, all of that. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming.
Hey there, what's your name?
I'm Daphne Hewitt.
Daphne, what brought you out here today?
Well, to be honest with you, I was feeling down after that announcement, but then I thought, wait a second, the media doesn't get to decide who president is. We do. And there's so much left to be done, and Donald Trump's not done. I want him for 4 more years. We need to protect the Second Amendment. We need to protect religious liberty. We need to protect life. And those are the 3 core values that I personally have.
And the First Amendment, like you're out here today.
Exactly.
Your right to free speech.
And law enforcement, I'm glad to see them out here protecting us and protecting our First Amendment rights.
After we saw all the attacks on the cops trying to harm them, hurt them, throw incendiary devices by the left, that was all from the left, not from
law and order, please. We need to have it restored in this country. Religious liberty, protection of life.
Hey there, ladies. What's your name? What's your name?
Terry.
Terry, and you are?
Hi, and I'm Lisa.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming out. What brought you out here today to the Stop the Steal event?
Well, I wanted to come out here and show support for President Trump and for a fair election, for democracy. I'm here to stand up, and I know that just my presence here alone, I represent millions of people because so many people are afraid to even be here. So
exactly,
I am here to stand it up.
You see signs of fraud going on?
I see major signs of fraud.
When you say that there's no evidence, the people standing behind me are called witnesses. They will eventually, soon hopefully, appear in court and give this testimony, because we're going to file a federal lawsuit that will cover here and Pittsburgh, and we will have as many witnesses as the court needs. Right now it could be as many as 90 witnesses. That's called evidence that there was a uniform deprivation of the right to inspect, which constitutes a fraud on the people of Pennsylvania, constitutes a fraud on all legitimate voters. Any illegitimate vote cancels a legitimate vote. And the burden of proof as to whether it's a legitimate ballot or not, when it's a mail-in ballot, is on the person proposing the ballot, because there's no other way to justify it. Well, they made it impossible to view those ballots, and there can be only one conclusion as to why you would make it so impossible. Because many, many of them were fraudulent. And you just don't lose leads like that without corruption. And you're in a city in which voter fraud is professional.
But there are definitely questionable issues around software. There are questions around manual processing of votes. I have questions around my own vote being counted. My own vote has only been accepted. It has not been counted.
Go back to your swamp. Drain the 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 swamp.
Hey there, what's your name, young man?
Jesus Garcia.
Hey, Sus.
Yes.
What brought you out here today to the Capitol?
Here to support Trump. We know they're trying to steal it. Everyone's, we were winning, then overnight, all of a sudden, Biden's in the lead, which was ridiculous.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
say that one more time for everybody.
Just right here in support of Trump, and we know they're trying to steal it. We know Trump was winning by a landslide and overnight while everybody was sleeping. They want to try and steal it. They stopped the count. They bring in all these dead people's votes. It's ridiculous. So we're just out here for America, for Trump, just for our families. Yeah.
And you are, what's your name, young lady?
Hi, my name is Nicole.
Nicole, and I heard you make a comment, so go ahead.
Well, I said, and we're out here fighting for our freedom and our constitutional rights. They're trying to be taken away from us, and we can't be silent for that.
Tolerate that.
We have to stand up for ourselves, for our kids, and for our country.
For our country and for our freedom. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
Hey, ladies. What's your name?
My name's Faith.
Faith, and you are?
Jana.
Say that again?
Jana.
Jana. All right. Thanks for coming out today to the Stop the Steal event. Can you tell me just real quickly why you came?
Well, I'm here because it's not really about Trump or Biden, but it's about the American people and having their vote count, and that nothing is stolen from them.
And do you see signs of fraud?
I do.
Where I do see it spreading, however, is sometime next week, unless I'm wrong, I think there'll be a similar case in Atlanta where similar things were going on. Republican inspectors showed up. They expected to inspect, right, like they do for absentee ballots, and they were uniformly kept out. They got to see nothing. And remember, Atlanta had to do the same thing you had to do. They had to catch Biden up because on election night he had lost. And he was down by a very good margin with only 85% to go. Something very similar happened in Michigan, Wisconsin, can't say Arizona, but in almost every state where President Trump had a lead going into the end of election night, some of the leads looking almost mathematically impossible to undo with the 5%, 10%, 20% of the vote. In almost all of those, this practice was followed.
I do see signs of fraud.
And that's why you came out to support this.
It is. It's the first time I've been to something like this.
Your first time?
First time.
Coming out to anything like this?
Yes,
Fantastic.
first time. Yes, first time.
Does it feel good to exercise your right to free speech and protest?
Yes.
Not letting them give you a fake pandemic reason why you can't socialize in a large setting of people? All that's a bunch of bullshit, right?
Exactly.
What's your reason for coming out today?
Well, the same thing. I want America to be founded on our original principles the Founding Fathers put together, and it's been eroded away, and it's time to stand up for America.
This is an onslaught attack on our civil liberties, what we see coming from the left, and their alignment with these big globalist corporations, right?
It is.
And their alignment with communist China, all of it taken over from the left.
Right. And that was one of the reasons with this flag. It says an appeal to heaven. Let's say everything this way.
It says appeal. Very nice.
And this was the flag that was flown on George Washington's his boats.
He flew this?
He flew this because they're trying to break free from Britain, and he knew they weren't going to be able to do it unless they appealed to heaven. And so this flag was born, and it was flown.
To all that is good. Appeal to all that is good and just.
And heaven.
Right? We're all a part of that. We got to wake up to that.
In God we trust. One nation under
one
God.
Nation under
and
God.
We're all created
and we got to remember that we're all equally a part of what God is. We're here to love each other, not to say our religion is better than yours and all this, and take away people's freedoms.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Our rights are given to us by God. We stand for liberty. We stand for the Constitution, honey. You better pick up a history book. You better talk to somebody. You should go to church. You should have compassion. We're holding out for you. You should give us the truth. Give us the truth. Give us the truth. You don't know the truth, even if it will cost your face.
The Bill of Rights, have you heard of it? The First Amendment, have you heard of it?
And what brought you out here today, young lady?
Well, I walked away from the Democratic Party about 7 months ago because I started questioning things. 2 and 2 didn't equal 4 anymore, and things started not adding up. And I'm out here, you know, I'm a Trump supporter, but more than anything, I'm about the policies and the platform and what he's accomplished. We're not voting for a saint. We don't need a saint.
But we're voting for the only person who sees the threat to our democracy, right?
Yes, we're voting for the future of our democracy, and this is the end of the line. And I'm really disappointed that my former party listens to the media, and they let the media tell them what their truths are.
They've been hijacked.
That's got to stop.
I'm like you. I'm a Democrat, and I saw through it.
And
They've been hijacked. The Democratic Party has been hijacked.
I saw through it, and I know there's a lot of
hijacked by communism, Marxism.
Everybody's
these
involved.
Big globalist corporations that are aligned with China.
Yeah. The technocrats, the elitists, you know, the globalists, the media, the journalists, Hollywood, and all the athletes.
And they're using this fake pandemic as their public health excuse, making everybody so afraid of something that's nothing more than like the flu.
No, they use this against Trump too.
Right.
Yeah. So I think they're all complicit in this. I see through it. And
ironically, as a Democrat, just like you, I came to the same realization earlier this year. It was probably about almost 7 months ago.
About 7 months ago.
I was like, what the F? I'm like looking at all this Marxism and violence and all this fake bullshit about the pandemic, and I'm like, wait a second, something is a false flag afoot here.
Exactly.
It's a false flag kind of thing, and I said, I can't, and I saw that Trump was ironically the only one standing up against the threat to our republic. Hey, young man, what's your name?
Gabe.
Gabe, I'm Connie Bryan, shooting for my TV show, The Connie Bryan Show.
Okay.
What brought you out here today?
We're not doing. The Democrats aren't going to steal this election. We're not going to let them. No.
That's
and as much as they want to, God's in control, and I'm here because God told me to be here
part
today.
of what God is, and we're not going to allow this.
Exactly.
I love your shirt.
This
This kind of says it all. That I've been saying on my show, it's kind of the same thing, but I say on my show we're wolves, not sheep. But you're saying the same thing.
Lions,
we're lions.
It's the same thing.
Lions, not sheep.
I'm a lion in this world, and I'm a sheep to Jesus Christ, and that's it.
And we've got to be independent and not allow these people to exercise this authoritarian control through these globalist corporations, big tech, big pharma.
You already know
aligned with communism, right?
Exactly.
And
if we let them steal this election, we're going to be thrown straight into communism.
Yeah.
And we're not
That's
having
the direction
it. So
they're trying to take.
There's going to be a civil war before that happens, and they don't want a civil war with us. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly.
So it is we either do this or we go to a civil war. I think this is a better option for now, and I think that God's in control, and Trump is going to win the election.
Thanks for coming out.
Of course. God bless you.
I'm shooting for my TV show here in Sacramento. It also airs across the nation and even in Washington, D.C.
All right.
Can you tell me why you came out today?
We got to support the Constitution and the idea that to have free elections, we need to make sure that we have legitimate ballots and votes that are being counted. That the globalists are really pushing against the only guy that's ever stood against them.
Standing up against them.
That's right. He's standing against them, and so they've come out in their numbers and showing all the abilities.
They've hijacked the Democratic Party, and I say that as a Democrat.
They did that a long time ago.
So take heart. There's a lot of us on the. I'd say, I wouldn't say on the left, but a lot of us moderate Democrats. Okay, what you might call a traditional liberal, traditional liberal who's very patriotic, who says, who agrees that we've got to have our freedom and our civil liberties. We might agree on most things. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing. It just over the last probably at least 30 years, they started hijacking the Democratic Party and taking it in the direction they did. And by removing the rights of, because they've pushed everything with regulations and rules and with no common sense.
And a lot of us within the Democratic Party are waking up to that. So there's a lot of people crossing party lines to support Trump.
Well,
I never thought I would support Trump until I saw this.
As well.
Say that again?
In all denominations as well.
And it doesn't have any, and it really doesn't have to have anything to do with any particular religion.
No.
You're fake. You're a fake corrupt news.
Constitution,
We
the
don't
Bill of
want
Rights.
you here.
That's right. Our Declaration of Independence said that our rights are God-given, not given, not
You're trying to
given,
silence us.
not Biden given, and certainly not your Princess Harris given.
Hey, what's your name? I'm Connie from the Connie Bryan Show. What's your name?
My name is Ellen. I am from San Francisco. I am here to fight for justice. America cannot be going downhill just because of Biden so corrupted for the last 47 years.
And where do you see the corruption with Biden? Just give me a short...
Wow, Biden?
Yeah, give me a...
For 47 years, what have he done for America? Maybe I should ask him, what have he done?
Yeah.
And all those are the laptop from hell. Yes, we see a lot of corruption from the laptop from hell. Yes.
And you see his alignment with China. Are you seeing Biden?
Oh yes,
in
the
bed
videos with sex tapes, corruptions, memos.
Selling access to the presidency when he was a vice president. Remember?
That's exactly what the laptop from hell.
We are poised to really change the trajectory of America, and it's either gonna go way bad or it's gonna be on the right track. So I vote for 4 more years for Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, and are you seeing signs of voter fraud? Is that part of what brought you out here?
Absolutely. If there is a question, even if you're a Democrat and you believe that the election was fairly won, then you shouldn't be shutting down any suspicion of fraud. You would gladly cooperate, and if in fact it comes out that Biden was the winner without any fraud, therefore it is a fair game. But we believe there's tons of fraud that needs to be investigated, and we will take this to the Supreme Court. And just like it happened in 2000, it ain't over till the fat lady sings.
As Americans, we have a country, and we have borders and we have rights, and that's why people want to come here.
Right.
It isn't. I don't see us wanting to become like everybody else.
Right.
That's why they're all coming here. All our friends that are every nationality you can come up with are here or sacrificed to come here.
We're here to have freedom and to have our own independence, right?
That's right. Maintain freedom.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
And right now, Trump's the only one standing against it.
Absolutely. And Biden sold out to Communist China. He
long
sold out.
years ago.
And that came out with these emails of his son.
Exactly.
You know, so.
Now, that's it.
So you know what? We learned that when all those deep states are corrupted, we, the people who believe in God, so we came here to pray and appeal to heaven. You see my shirt? An appeal to heaven.
Yes.
America was built on godly land and godly people, and we the people will continue to fight, and 2021 will be the year that we're going to restore our law and order, and we're going to clean the deep state. We will have the we people government. We the people government.
We the people. Thank you so much for saying that, because I've been saying that a lot. We got to get back to we the people.
That's right.
Controlling, not we the corporations.
That's right. We the people. We the people will not give up our God-given rights.
The problem is right now it's we the corporations that our elected representatives are serving. They've been bought off by these big globalist, multinational corporations that are aligned with China.
Oh, I understand.
Yes.
My Twitter account was blocked because I put something about corruption regarding Biden, and they immediately blocked my account.
Who did?
Twitter.
Twitter did?
That's right.
Okay.
And I got warnings from Facebook and Instagram. Instagram also blocked my account too. That's what people do.
Yes.
But you know what? We the people, we the mothers will not give up our nation.
Yes.
We are fighting for not only for me, for my family, for my children, and generations to come.
Our rights are given to us by God. Truth is given to us by God. You wouldn't even know the truth if you saw it in front of your face, lady. Go home. Take your fake news out of here. Take it out of here. You have no shame in exploiting people of color, just like you, just like me. Exploiting people that are the weakest. You exploit them just so you can make $1. Get out of here. Take your fake news out of here. Go to church. Learn your lesson. Go to church. Learn about God.
You got any final words, young lady?
Well, I would just like to say that everyone should really look into the laptop from hell, what has come, what has been exposed.
Hunter Biden's laptop
from the corruption with Biden. Absolutely. Politico was all about it last year. They reported extensively on Biden Inc. and his history of corruption going back to the 70s. And the articles that I've seen stop short of pointing towards any direct evidence, but it's all out there now, and it's being suppressed by big tech and mainstream media, and it is an enemy of the people.
They're hiding but we know from people who have seen those emails, and we found out that the FBI and the Justice Department have an active
investigation into Hunter. Absolutely.
Because of those emails.
Absolutely.
And those emails show that he was involved in selling access to his father when his father was vice president, selling access to the presidency for them to profit to the tune of tens of millions of dollars.
So doesn't that compromise Biden right now? That compromises all of us Americans right now. And if we don't recognize that, we are really a sorry bunch. We are all compromised because Biden and his son have been dealing with China. That's been proven. It's not disputable. It's just what's in dispute is the length or the depth. But
our country is already at war right now. We're already at war. We're in a cold war right now, and we just want to try to keep it from getting violent.
It's a national security issue for all of us.
Because we're not going to tolerate this. Americans, patriotic Americans like us, we're not tolerating
this.
No,
this is it. This is it.
I mean, if there's any question, if you're on the right side, I know in history, I'm going to look back one day, I know I'm going to be on the right side. I look around, and I can't even tell you how many new friends I have that are Vietnamese, that are Chinese, that are Venezuelans, and they're here, and they're standing up against this tyranny because they recognize it for what it is. This is it. This is the last stand. We're the world's hope.
To save our country.
It stops with us. It stops with us.
I've seen voter fraud. It should be addressed. And hopefully we get treated right in the courts.
If we don't, what's the next step? I mean, I don't see how we can tolerate this myself.
Well, the next step, if they lose for some reason after all the evidence has been presented, then we got a corrupt system, and then you know what happens after that. It's tyranny.
We got to stand up against it.
Stand up against it.
Take our country back.
These people don't understand the Constitution. When they do find fraud, they're going to invoke the 12th Amendment, and he's going to win anyway. That's the Constitution. That's the way it works.